Hey, Dad? What's up, son? I think I'm ready to talk about sex. Oh, the birds and the bees. Well, I think you're old enough, son. What's up? Well, I'm sexually active, and always wear a condom. Always. No matter how good it feels without one, these hoes is dirty. Gotcha. But yeah, I'm not really experienced. Oh, well, you came to the right one, son. Hoes used to be sprung on this dick. What you need to know how to do. Okay, well, how do you suck dick? What? You asking for a female friend, right? No, Dad, for me. Every time I do it, I feel like I'm doing it wrong. Every time you do it? Oh, okay. I already lost you. I like black guys, so the dicks are always really big in my mouth, you know? No, I don't, son. I always gag, and sometimes I feel like I'm not using enough tongue or I'm sucking too hard. How does Mom suck your dick? She doesn't, which is why this marriage is gone to shit. Son, I love you, but I don't know how to suck dick. So we gonna learn together. I never did this shit before, right? But I seen enough porn to know what I like and to know what niggas like. So what you want to do is you want to start off by licking the head slowly, right? Tease the nigga a little bit. Give him the appetizer before you give him a meal. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's a supportive dad.
I know. Not to go too personal, but do you feel like that's a conversation that not about like you know, if your son's like, oh, how do you suck dick, Dad? But like the sex question, is that something that you feel like you're gonna handle, or you're gonna write that off to the school and let them?
You know, I feel like I had to learn on my own, and he's gonna learn on his own too.
So you didn't, your parents never?
We
not
talked
once?
about the birds, and they tried to talk, you know, and it was just like, why are we talking about this?
I had one conversation once
and like the conversation came when I was not sexually active yet, so I was just like,
what grade were you in?
I think I was like
mine came in 8th grade.
I think like freshman year, like that in freshman year. Yeah. Anyways, guys. You are watching the Reaction Hour episode 2. For those of you new to the show, everybody's new to the show because it's only the 2nd episode, but we react to different videos, memes, articles, so on and so forth. It's just it's like an extended version of a reaction video, kind of like a podcast meets a reaction video. If you like what you're watching, make sure to send in material, send in videos, send in memes, send in articles, stuff to discuss about.
Use hashtag Reaction Hour.
Hashtag Reaction Hour, and try to shy away from movie trailers and music videos, so on and so forth. Things like
that we would normally react to on a daily basis. We want
different, cool, like fresh stuff. But I hope you guys watched last week's episode. It's up right there on the screen.
If you didn't, go check that out right now, because actually our first segment, quick segment, it's going to be a follow-up to a video that we did. Unfortunately, Jesse Duplantis, the minister we talked about before, isn't exactly responding to us specifically. Maybe one day. Right. But there was a huge controversy. So again, if you guys were watching last week, the quick summary is he's a Christian minister who asked, basically he's asking his parishioners, is that the proper word? I don't know. His peeps, congregation. Yeah, there you go. For money, $54 million to buy a brand new jet. He had already had 3 of them.
It's so that he only has to fill it up once.
He doesn't have to spend all that money on the oil.
All that money on the oil and all that time. Just losing all my time, stopping the plane, refilling it to get to the other side of the country. You just can't have it.
So obviously there was a backlash to that, and he posted a follow-up video, and well, let's just get into it.
Hello, partners and friends. I guess you've noticed all the media that's been coming and all the different things that's being said about me concerning this plane. First thing I want to say this, they never started the story.
That guy's teeth are way too white.
Why? Because I wanted to be completely honest with all my partners and friends like you who support and love this ministry all these years.
He doesn't have a lot of jewelry,
I started it. They did not. And I wanted to be honest, so you'd know that I've owned 3 planes.
Unless you think that's a Rolex right there.
Well, I was gonna say, if you look at the stuff around on his desk, it looks like he's like Indiana Jones raider. Yeah. Like he has some trinkets that he stole. I'm not saying he's a Nazi, but
everything else is pretty gaudy.
Now, what's so amazing about this, I had a partner write me, and I think it's really wonderful, and I'd like to read what he said. He said, I'm a longtime follower and friend of your ministry. I'm disturbed by the huge volume of negative press you are getting, reporting you're trying to dupe followers into buying you a new plane. I'm sure there's
That's
a
not
lot
what he's
more
trying
to
to
the
do at all.
story. I'm not looking for a lengthy
He's
explanation.
not duping him.
But can you help me figure out what to say to people who say you are doing wrong? That is a great, thank you for saying that. First thing first, I've never raised money for the plane. I put it in our magazine and said, believe God with me. It's a vast difference between believing God and asking for money. Now, it takes
All right, so do you know what the difference is? I don't know what the difference is, but
he's not.
How many-
He's not asking for money.
he's saying believe God.
He's just saying, and by believing, he's saying, give me money. But he's not saying, give me money. He's saying, you don't have to give me money. But if you believe in God, you will give me money.
Do you think he's going to get his plane?
Absolutely.
So do you think
He got 3 planes already.
So we need to start believing stuff.
That's something.
Believe God in whatever. Like,
Yes.
what do we need?
I don't know. Let's do a prayer. Dear Heavenly Lord, Heavenly Father, that's what we want to say. Dear Heavenly Father, please, Daniel and Gian, we want to believe that we will get another 88,000 subscribers to get us up to 100,000 subscribers.
Believe Jesus. Believe God.
And we want our 12,000 subscribers to believe with us to get those subscribers. And if we believe enough, we will get those subscribers.
Just like he's going to get his jet.
Just like he's going to get his jet. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Catholic cross.
I think I did it backwards. But, you know, and he goes on to talk about other things, but that's basically what it is. He's double downing. He's definitely doubling down on the whole thing.
Well, I just think it's funny that he has to explain to the fucking idiots that he doesn't have 3 planes on his person, that he's owned 3 planes over his ministry. You know, like we knew that he doesn't have 3 planes. Like he has 2 old planes just chilling in a hangar, and the 3rd plane that he uses. And
do you know anybody who's like not donated to him, but like donates to this stuff? Like, do your family members donate 10%?
I don't know. Maybe my grandma. That's not my dad. No way.
No.
I mean, we haven't.
Is your family religious? I really don't even
No,
know.
you know, when I was in up until about high school, like I want to say like elementary school to high school, we'd go to church every Sunday. Just my mom. I would never go. My mom and my sister. And we lost like 2 pastors. Like one pastor, like his wife just decided to leave him. I don't know if she like met another person at another congregation, but that like he had this little community church inside his house. They owned 2 houses. They lived across the street. They had their house, and then on the other side was the church. It was like inside of a house. Well, that community church, there was probably like 30, 40 people in the congregation that would show up. I don't know how the hell we found out about this place, but we did. He was a Chinese guy. His name was
That's interesting.
Pastor Henry Lai. His wife was a Caucasian woman. But anyways, like she decided to leave him, and that just completely like destroyed the congregation. Yeah, and I haven't seen that guy since. And I was probably like 14. I was really close to the guy too. So we found another church in Newark, which is another city next to us, and there's another pastor, also got really close to him, and he got accused of molesting somebody, and he got accused of molesting a mentally challenged
that's the
kid. He got arrested for it because he like, I don't know. Long story.
He's not Catholic though, right? He was just a Christian priest.
Yeah, he was married. He had two.
That's what I thought.
2 kids. Well, apparently the story goes that the kid was a little slow. I remember the kid. He asked him like how to masturbate, and he showed him how.
Just like the video we watched.
I don't know what video was that.
The one we just watched, how to suck dick.
Oh yeah, something like that, I guess. Yeah. He went to prison for that. Because I mean,
Well, if he was Catholic, he would have just went to the Vatican.
Yeah, exactly. They would have just shipped him to another country. It was weird because I spent a lot of time with this guy, and he never like made a move or anything on me or anything. But then it comes out like now he's gay. He's like I haven't talked to him in years, but now he's gay. He's got a husband. You know, his marriage dissolved. I think he was a guy fighting with his sexuality, but I just don't think he did what they accused him of. He went to prison for it.
Oh, that's why you're saying he didn't do it to me. It was a weird because it didn't feel like that was something he was even capable of.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, isn't that kind of a lot of people?
Yeah, who knows?
You hear those stories where like, I didn't know he was a killer. And
he was taking advantage of a kid with mental. I don't know.
But I mean, it's a thing. There was a documentary.
But that was the timeline is right then and there. That was like the last time my family ever went to church, other than going to Easter every so often. Because like the 2 pastors that we like really like were.
That's the worst, man.
Yeah.
I think the documentary. I think it's See No Evil or Hear No Evil, something like that. And it was about that was like the first documentary I watched about the Catholic Church that made me go, you guys are defending all these fucking people?
Yeah.
No wonder why my mom never tried to force me to be an altar boy or things like that. Because she asked me, she's like, do you want to be an altar? Because that was like the thing, like, you can be an altar boy, you can do all this stuff.
Well, to be fair, you've never been a cute person, so.
Well, that is not true, actually, okay? I have headshots. I will bring them in next week, and that'll be a reaction.
Put them on the video.
We'll have to find them first, but next week, that'll be a whole segment. I was going to be a child actor, but it's just, well, that's another topic for another day. My point is, though, in that movie, they were talking about how priests would molest deaf kids because they couldn't
say anything, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just, it's fucked up. But anyway, let's segue to something more positive. So this video has been going viral. It's been going around, and it's a cop. And I still don't know the circumstance. It's kind of unclear. I've heard mixed reports about it, but the setup to this video
well,
is...
he's smiling, so I wonder if this is a friendly competition.
Yeah, so do you have a cop...
Or was it like End of Watch, where the guy's like, oh, you want to fight? Whatever.
I've heard both stories,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, I don't know what exactly is going on in terms of like what set this up, but yeah, let's get into it. So they're wrapping him up right now, this police officer with some boxing gloves.
This is some 16-ounce gloves.
And they go to town here in a second.
Oh, the guy wearing a bandana?
Yeah.
I like how low they're getting. Yeah, look at that head movement. You gotta get the uppercut though. You gotta get that uppercut. Oh, his glove hit the ground. That's a knockdown. Oh, there comes the uppercut.
Oh, bandana came off. So they stop, and then they give each other their props and stuff. So the reason why I brought this up is not because it's this, but do you think that if they could implement this into like everyday life?
I think that's actually something that's kind of wrong with the way society's going right now. I think stuff like this, like...
Is what's wrong?
No.
Oh,
I think we should see, like, even at school, when kids have issues with each other, they should let
fight
them...
it out?
Yeah. Let them put the gloves on and turn it into a sport instead of, like...
I agree.
You know, especially in the inner city where some of these kids, they get so mad they come back and they shoot the guy, you know, or rival sets.
That's why I brought it up.
Like there's a thing, you know, when I was younger... Anytime you got into a fight with somebody, you know, you ended up being friends afterwards. You know, it's very rare that, like, you know...
Well, because you earn the other person's respect sometimes, not every time.
Yeah, unless you just got completely laid out or something. It always depends on what the beef was over as well, you know.
But I mean, in this video, as it goes on, it's like they're all happy about it. Like, I don't know what the setup is, but let's just assume for a second that it was a beef. There was an argument. There was like, I'll fuck you up, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, let's go.
Right.
And then someone was like, I got gloves, let's do it. And then they went and did it, you know. I kind of think it's this weird, it doesn't, because I feel like the argument would be that it promotes violence, it promotes unruliness, it promotes like challenging an officer, like, oh, if you have a conflict, all right, let's fight over it, whatever, you know, because then it does bring up the thing of like, okay, let's say the cop knocked the other dude out, is he going to charge him with assault?
Right.
There's going to be does he get fired for this? Like, I don't know what the follow-up to this was.
I mean, he still might get fired for this.
Exactly.
Depending on who it gets into the wrong place, but I feel like this video right here, like now those kids are going to trust police officers
a little bit more.
A little
at least
more.
that guy.
Yeah,
at least that
exactly.
guy.
And like if they have some issues,
They
if
might
another
call
cop
him up.
goes and messes up, they're going to be like, I want to talk to officer, whatever his name is, and have him come through because they trust him enough. And that helps the community because I think the biggest problem between police officers and ethnic communities is that mistrust, that just lack of trust. And obviously because a lot of times it doesn't go their way, you know? A lot of times it doesn't go our way. It's just how it is.
And what's fucked up about it is there's validity to what you just said. People genuinely don't trust the police, and there's reason for it. I mean, even with the internet, you're going to see more and more. I mean, body cam hamper, get it turned off.
Yeah, like people run not necessarily because they're guilty, but because they think if I let them take me, I'm going to get pinned for something I didn't do.
And it's a reality.
I got
for
a better
people.
chance of just getting away and running. You know, like Michael Cera in Superbad.
So this is another what would you do in this situation? And I'm going to ask you specifically because
All right.
I'm kind of a pacifist.
Well, let's wash it, and then we can get to the Pacifics.
Sir, what gives you the right to park like that right there? What? What does that give you the right to park like that?
What the fuck are you gonna do about it? You got a problem?
I mean, yeah, I just don't understand what makes you...
Because somebody was pulling out in front of me and I was trying to pull in here and I was in a hurry, and so I parked like that. Is that a problem for you? Is there any fucking problem whatsoever?
It is.
Why?
What is...
Because you're a dumb son of a bitch, that's why.
I'm sitting in my parking spot, and I'm...
I saw this and I immediately thought of you, right? Because me, if I was like, what the fuck? I said that to the guy and he said like, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? Probably nothing. I wouldn't even have continued the conversation. That would have shut me up right then and there. But I feel like if someone said that to you...
You know what? It all depends on my mood, my temperament. Like if I'm in a good mood and somebody says something to me, I'll probably just like, I wouldn't even like went up and talked to the guy. I would just hop in the car and drove off, you know, and just let the person keep barking. If I was in a bad mood though.
It's already a bad day.
Yeah, if it was a bad day, like I probably would have walked up to the car. Or, you know what, I probably still wouldn't have come. I probably would have stayed.
Because he's an old man?
The old man come up to me? Oh, you mean if
that guy?
If I was in the car and I
like,
said like, what, the old guy came up to me, I would have broken that fucker's hip. Even if I was in a good mood, I would have like.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, even if I was in a good mood, I'd run up there and be like, get your old ass back in the fucking car and stop parking like a dick.
Because that's what was the funniest bit about it.
Like I don't like, dude. You know what? You're too old to be like walking up on someone like that. For real.
I just love how.
Like, don't make me get out of the car. Like that guy in the truck filming him was a punk.
He got bitched.
Yeah, he got straight up punk. Like, what are you gonna do about it?
I want to hear it again.
Sir, what gives you the right to park like that right there?
The way the guy talks.
What does that give you the right?
You see how fast he walked up on him?
What the fuck are you gonna do about it?
You got a problem?
I mean, yeah, I just don't understand what makes you...
Because somebody was pulling out in front of me and I was trying to pull in here and I was in a hurry, and so I parked like that. Is that a problem for you? Is there any fucking problem whatsoever?
It is.
Why?
What is...
Because you're a dumb son of a bitch, that's why.
I'm sitting in my parking spot.
He tells him to kiss my ass. Kiss my ass.
The guy filming him is a bully, and he wasn't expecting dude to come at him like that.
I mean, that's a lot of bullies though when you think about it. Like they always say, the first time you stand up to a bully, if you're a kid and you like. That happened to my cousin, my little cousin, when he was younger. My uncle told, because this kid was bullying, and then the teacher would say, no, he's a good student. The parents, blah blah. No, it wasn't happening right. And so finally,
probably a rich kid.
Probably, most likely. Yeah. My uncle said if he ever touches you again, you just kick him in the shins. Just kick him in the shins, and he'll just. And then sure enough, my cousin just kicked the shit out of his shins, and then he started crying. No, he started crying, and then my cousin got in trouble. But then, like, people were actually witness to this, and then my cousin ended up not getting in trouble. But I mean,
well, let me warn you guys out there who want to step up to bullies. My best friend was a bully, and if you stood up to him, he would not back down. Yeah, he just like whatever he did to you, it would get worse. So it's like that. I don't know if you watch. Of course, you didn't. It's in Spanish, but there's a joke about this guy who stood up to a bully, and then the guy beat the fuck out of him.
No, I haven't seen
that. It's hilarious, but for another day.
So you can set this one up because you actually sent me this.
I saw this is on Twitter last week. I just randomly came across it. This guy, sometimes you want to be a good Samaritan, and it's better just to mind your own business. It's raining. It's like this car's just stopped in the middle of nowhere. Homie is passed out.
Passed out. When you sent this to me, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, I was wondering what the twist in the video was. But
Was he sleeping at that point? That guy brought a hammer out. I think they were gonna break the window open. Oh shit! I shouldn't have woke him up. 'Cause at this point in the video, was he sleeping? Do you think he was sleeping at this point?
Yeah, maybe.
And he was like, "Oh, well, fuck
He
it."
fell back asleep and his foot stayed on the gas.
I mean, it could have been worse. He could have died.
Oh, absolutely. We're only
You don't know what happened.
We're only watching this because he did.
That's funny. So what would you have done? Again, I would have left him alone. But see, I don't know because he looked dead. So I would have. I don't know. It's
I don't.
I might have called 911.
I don't. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been the
You
one.
let the authority. I don't bang on anybody's
Yeah,
window.
absolutely.
You don't. Even if it's asleep or what, I'd stay away.
Unless.
Unless he's like blocking the entire intersection or something. I feel like this guy was like double parked somewhere where he shouldn't have been.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say unless it's a dog.
Yeah.
Dogs are the only situation where I'd feel obligated. It's really weird. If it's an animal in the car, I'd feel 100% obligated to like to call the police or to
break the.
Well, you can in California now. It's legal. You can absolutely break the window.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no. Do you think that's hood mentality that we have, where it's like, oh, that guy's, I'm not gonna knock on his window.
I think that's definitely absolutely. That's good. The hood mentality is all about like survival. You don't know what's going on with that guy. You don't
He could
know
be drugged out. He might shoot you.
Exactly. You don't know if he's packing, and then you wake him up, and he just starts shooting. Like people do crazy shit. And here's another version of playing the Good Samaritan. We see
Gone wrong.
We see an adult. He finds his child vandalizing cars in the parking lot, so he takes a stand. Well, I was like, where does this kid's like? He's like blocking the guy, like flexing on him.
He is flexing because he's trying to call his mom. Yeah. Sorry for the audio quality on this one. The real video apparently continues to get flagged because the boy's mother continues to flag it on YouTube. So
the boy's mother's probably a piece of shit. That's why.
I mean, where is the boy's mother?
Where's the boy's dad?
I mean, at that point, 9 years old or not, it's like, what do? You know, you can't hit him.
They are messing with cars. He was. And I called him, and then they start cussing, telling him MFU and all this, that, and the other.
This little kid?
Yeah. And then, so I told Sean, because Sean runs the car.
Okay.
So I told Sean, come out here and get this kid, because he just kept running around here and cussing me and all that. I said, you need to tell this kid to get out of here. So Sean came out here and told him to go. And he went down right where his bike's at, and turned and dropped his bike and ran back up here and started pushing Sean. So in his face, cussing and hollering at him.
Looks like a nice little kid. That's Sean there.
Yeah, he's a nice little kid.
Now you want to fucking shoot me, you ignorant piece of shit!
Hey, up and go. You need to watch your language.
This kid's got a
You
mouth.
fucking shoot me and throw me on the ground!
Listen, we all saw what happened.
You didn't see
I
shit!
saw the lights on, right?
We all saw what happened.
You already made everything. Alright, this is not
Oh, fuck you and your fucking people with fucking child abuse! You fucking started joking me and threw me on the fucking ground! Fuck you, lady! Fuck you!
Oh my god.
Step back, son.
Fuck you, you whore!
You got some problems, honey.
Yeah, you
You
got
got some big problems.
Fuck you, too!
You don't scare me.
So then he goes on and rides off on his bike. Before we go into like the specifics, I want to bring something up. On the original video when I saw this a few days ago, someone commented and said, "This is a future school shooter." Do you think that I don't think that that's going to happen in this case, but do you feel like the people who end up being school shooters are kind of off like this?
No.
So you think
No,
that's just a
this kid's not a future.
completely-
This kid's a future convict. He's not a future school shooter. Like the kids that are school shooters are like loners. They keep to themselves. They don't get enough attention from anyone. But they don't.
Well, that's
I feel like, I mean, this is pseudoscience here,
Right.
but in my opinion, the kids that become school shooters are kids that internalize all this stuff, and
they're on drugs too.
And then when they finally, that's them finally acting out and finally like extroverting all this stuff, this pent up stuff.
So you feel like a school shooter wouldn't be breaking cars or whatever?
No, I think I know kids like this. You know, I grew up with kids like this. There's always that one little punk, and a lot of times it's just they didn't have anybody at home. They weren't getting enough hugs from their mom. Their dad's not in the picture. You know, he's angry because he's not
getting the attention that he deserves.
He's not
as
getting
a child.
the attention that a child needs. You know,
So,
and it's sad. Like, you know, it's easy for us to talk shit about it, but you know, that kid's he's gonna run into trouble. I mean,
if he doesn't run into the right people,
yeah,
he doesn't get on that right
exactly.
path.
If somebody doesn't help him now,
Well, that's kind of why.
I mean, what I find amazing is like he's screaming child abuse. Like, where do you even get these ideas at that age? Who's telling you about this stuff?
If he really is 9, I know. I don't know. My thing is, because when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, I'm not a parent. You're a parent.
Yeah.
If your kid's a troublemaker like this, obviously we're going to assume that's, you know, you're going to give your son the love and attention he deserves. But let's just assume, you know, kids can be kids. They might be doing stupid shit, whatever. Are you okay with what he did to that child? Would you be okay if he threw your kid to the ground like that?
I mean,
if you had a videotape of it too, and you could see exactly play by play.
I mean, it's still, you know, I can understand.
It's a gray area, right?
He shouldn't have thrown the kid to the ground, but I see. It's like Bill Burr says, you know, you should never hit a woman, but we could bring the joke up too. What's the joke? It's like you should never bring a woman, but there's no reason. There's never a reason to hit a woman.
I think there are certain circumstances where there's.
I mean, he could have restrained the kid differently. If we want to get critical, he didn't have to grab the kid by the throat and throw him to the ground. You know, he could have restrained the kid. He could have picked the kid up, you know, or did something else. You know what I mean? Just displayed his strength. Like, picked the kid up and said, maybe...
Or even just held him.
Yeah, held
say,
the
hey,
kid.
stop.
Or, yeah, exactly. Put him up against the wall or something, you know? And just say, and like, you know, that was a teaching moment. And maybe he reaches the kid. And I listened to a podcast on NPR a couple months ago where there's this school in the inner city that had these kids that would lash out violently. And the instructors... You know, the one time one of the kids socked him in the face, and instead of him like getting pissed off and like throwing the kid to the ground, or he just asked him like, he restrained the kid, and then he asked him, like, why are you so angry? Like, what's wrong? Like, why? And then,
which is a good thing.
And the kid calmed down, and then like he broke down, and then he kind of let him, and they tried to help the kid. And I feel like everyone was so obsessed with what this kid was doing that nobody's asking, why is he doing this? You know, and I see that's just how it is a lot in a lot of places.
And I think that's why I'm glad I asked you, because I think that's 100% he is the bigger guy. The other guy, without a shadow, he could restrain him without any question. Do you think he should, you know, have charges pressed against him? Do you think?
No, if I'm a parent, I'm not gonna.
That's what I'm asking as a parent.
If that was my kid, and I wouldn't want charges pressed against the guy, but I would definitely go and talk to the guy and be like, listen, man, I know, and if I knew what was wrong, but we don't know. We don't know if his mom's a piece of shit or not, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I did call her a piece of shit at the beginning of the video, but we don't know what's going on with her. Maybe she's working.
Maybe she's not home. Maybe she has 3 jobs.
Yeah,
maybe there's no dad,
jobs, you know?
Or maybe,
and they, you know, and a lot, and I, you know, my parents. I was a latchkey kid growing up. You know, my dad would get home pretty early. He'd get home probably about an hour and a half after I got home from school. That was still enough time for me to get into some shit. You know, so imagine if you have all this time. You have hours upon hours until your mom gets home.
Because you got to wonder, why is he at the park by himself?
Exactly. Or he's with his little buddy. Yeah. And that's also odd, too, because that used to be normal. It's not normal now, but it used to be.
Not with TV and Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're not home playing Xbox or whatever, you know.
I mean, maybe the kid's like so angry because no other kids are out playing outside.
Maybe he's old school,
and maybe they're clowning him at school because he doesn't have video games or something.
Who knows?
Too bored.
I mean, it's real. Garrity McCosker didn't have that was his life. In podcast friend of mine, friend of the podcast too.
That's probably why he ended up ruining his life and going to Notre Dame.
This is the video though that you were talking about with Bill Burr. It's a 7-minute video. I'm not sure where he says those lines.
It's towards the beginning.
One time she was watching this show. It was like a poor excuse for The View, and they started talking about domestic violence. Right? For the 9 millionth time this year, they're talking about domestic violence. Just in case, you know, you didn't get the memo. You know? Evidently, you know, just some people didn't get it. It's not okay to slam your wife's head into the cupboard drawers because she didn't dry the can opener off properly. You know? It's gonna fucking rust, right? How do you not know not to do that shit? Do they really have to keep talking about it?
It's kind of true, man.
It's like wife beaters watching. Oh, fuck! Ah! Now I get it. Upset daisy, sweetheart. Here we go. There you go. Oh. So at the end of the hour, they come to the logical conclusion. They're like, there is no reason to hit a woman. There is no reason to hit a woman. And I was just like, really? I could give you like 17 right off the top of my head. You could wake me from a drunken stupor, I could still give you like 9. Dude, there's plenty of reasons to hit a woman. You just don't do it. But to sit there and suggest that there's no reason. Dude, the level of ego behind that statement. What are you, levitating above the rest of us? You're never annoying?
That's the thing about edgy comedy or whatever, because, I mean, you can go into Bill Burr's all about pushing the boundaries. But the way Bill does it is, he kind of has a point.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of, if you don't see his point, or at least willing to listen to his point, I feel like you're one of the ignorant people.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, because I feel like me even saying that sounds like I'm condoning violence against women. It's not just this joke, it's any jokes he does.
We lock on to one part of the statement and we can't let that go. Like, you know, one of the false equivalencies last week from the whole Roseanne thing and then calling what's-her-face a cunt. You know,
Samantha Bee.
Yeah, like somebody just kept throwing, like, on my timeline, someone just kept throwing examples, like all these, and one of them was when George Lopez like started cussing out this black woman.
Oh yeah.
And it was like the black woman had no right to get angry because he didn't say anything bad about black people. He just said, in my house there was 2 things that you couldn't do, something, and come home with a black person.
There's still 2 rules in the fucking Latinos family. Don't marry somebody black, and don't park in front of our house. Sit your fucking ass down. Sit your fucking ass down. I'm talking, bitch. Sit your fucking ass down. You pay to see a show. Sit your ass down. You can't take a joke. You're in the wrong motherfucking place.
Which is kind of true for
Hispanics.
If you grew up Mexican, you know that's true.
It's an LA Mexican thing for sure. And it wasn't like it wasn't disparaging black people at all. It wasn't insulting. He was just making a joke about like the way it was in his house when he was growing up. And then she flew off the handle because all she heard was, you know,
racism.
Exactly. And then he told her to shut her bitch ass up, like whatever. Like he didn't respond.
He made it worse.
Yeah, he didn't have the best comeback, but you know, it's one of those things like when you lock on to one part of it, you're not listening. You're not allowing yourself to.
It's very common today.
Digest.
I feel like it's well. Do you feel like that's very common today, or do you feel like because when you grew up, do you feel like people were as outraged as they are now? Like, do you think people got pissed off by things?
You know what? I think
sensitive. I
think people have always got pissed off by things, but they just never had an outlet for it. And now it's so easy to get on Twitter, to get on Facebook, and to get on Instagram. You know, post a picture and do some shit on Instagram. Too many people are allowed an opinion. I guess that's the way of putting it. Too many people that don't think things through.
What do you think about?
Like, for example, my mom's cousin forwarded this thing on Instagram saying like this lady's like a model, Puerto Rican model actress or something, or she's got a PhD.
Yeah.
It was Mia Khalifa. It was a picture of Mia Khalifa. She thought she read that it was a joke meme for only people that knew. Yeah, and then someone like commented, she said, hey, you know, you might want to like verify these things before you like post
start
them.
Posting about it.
Yeah, because this is a porn star. Not even Puerto Rican either. You know, she's Lebanese.
That's hilarious. What was the response to that?
Oh, I didn't follow up.
What's your opinion on making Twitter or any account really? Because Facebook does this, but use your name as opposed to abolishing screen names. This isn't something that's coming up, but I'm just curious. Like,
I mean, it's a double. I know people talk about it. I heard on Joe Rogan's podcast. He suggested it. It's a double-edged sword because do you want everyone to know who you are? Like, even if you don't say anything, this gives easy access to hackers and stuff like that. And it's happening. People hack into people's accounts using your name, finding out, like,
or people who just get mad about little things.
We're dumb. Like, most humans are dumb, and they have dumb passwords that are easy to find out, you know? And that's how people get hacked most. Like, someone's like, okay, Bill Simmons Looks at a picture. He's got a fucking Red Sox hat on.
Red Sox 1, 2, 3.
Exactly. Or, Boston Celtics, whatever the last championship, 2007 or whatever, like.
Right.
And then, sure enough, they'll start doing stuff like that. They'll start guessing, and they'll find it fast.
Well, but I mean more in regards to like maybe just Twitter. Let's say Twitter. Let's say Twitter.
It prevents people from hiding behind a screen name and saying messed up stuff.
But at the same time, though, does it really? Because I see some people saying some fucked up shit on Facebook
with their names,
with their profile pictures on Instagram too.
I don't think you should get. Basically, my opinion, I don't think you should get in trouble for saying any of this stuff. I think people need to grow a thicker skin, and if they have an issue with it, they report them and they get their thing flagged. But to take it to the next level where you're ruining, you're trying to ruin someone's livelihood because they said something racist.
Well, Roseanne, her life got ruined, and she ruined other people's lives.
But she's a public figure.
True.
This is a difference. I don't feel sorry for a public figure like that. You should know better. You're a role model and something. A lot of times we're like, why are we elevating these celebrities? And I agree with that. But their voice has weight to it. People listen. People don't listen to what we say. People listen to what Roseanne
Some
said.
people say. At one point, people. Hopefully, at one point, people are listening.
Yeah, eventually. But what I'm saying is, we don't have that kind of stroke.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We believe. We said a prayer.
Even Kanye and his stupid stuff. There's people now that are gonna jump over and start wearing MAGA hats because Kanye wore a MAGA hat. You know what I mean?
People don't realize the influence that they have.
No, exactly. But there's a reason why there's people on Instagram called influencers. They post pictures of themselves.
They make a lot.
And they make a lot of money because people are buying the products they're peddling. So when someone with that kind of power says something like that, they need to be punished for it.
Well, but the reason why I asked the question, and this is a perfect segue to something you wanted to talk about today, which has to do with Kelly Marie Tran. And you could set it up because that's kind of like what's going on there. I mean, they're not anonymous trolls on Instagram. For those who don't know, she was in The Last Jedi. She was the Asian character. I forget her name. I
don't remember her name either, but
who portrayed resistant fighter Rose Tico, according to this.
Yeah,
article.
Rose. Okay, and her sister dies at the very beginning of The Last Jedi,
which was one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a movie I hated.
But so we saw this today. She got rid of her entire Instagram account because hardcore Star Wars fans were sending her hate messages and threatening her life because they didn't like The Last Jedi. Daniel is one of these people.
I didn't attack her.
He didn't attack her, but
I hated The Last Jedi.
He's one of them that is so butthurt about The Last Jedi that he still hasn't seen Solo.
I have not.
But yeah.
So what it says is I was on Instagram trying to do the right thing. Wait, let me make sure this is the right about her. Oh no, this is Daisy. Oh, Daisy Ridley also deleted her Instagram because she talked about gun safety. I'm trying to look at what was specifically said about her, but I don't know. But my thing is, why do people care so much about what other people are doing? That's because we talked about this very briefly before we started the podcast.
I mean, who cares about what? I think it's ridiculous that you love a franchise so much that you attack.
That's what I'm saying. Why do you care so much?
And it's not even. You know what? Attack the director. Attack the person who wrote it. Why go after?
What does she do? She's an actress.
She wasn't even the star of the movie.
She wasn't. She didn't even do anything wrong. It's not her fault that she didn't write her part that way.
And it's sad that she's not famous. She's famous because of that movie. She hasn't done anything else. I've never seen her in anything else. This was her big break, and you guys ruined her big break.
You had to make her delete her private life. But my other thing is, because you brought up having thick skin. Do you feel like she should have caved like that?
No, I think what social.
Because you just said you have to have
absolutely,
thick skin.
But I think social.
She's an influencer. She had 189,000 followers.
I think social media is a little ridiculous, and I think maybe, and this is me, kind of backtracking a little bit, but this is kind of her saying, you know what, this is dumb.
I'm not even going to do it at all.
Yeah, why am I bothering? Whatever. Yeah, because she probably still has a Facebook. And she
still has it. She didn't delete her Instagram.
No, she's just not posting. Yeah, she's not posting it. She doesn't want to deal with it anymore. Whatever. I mean, I kind of get it.
Do you feel like the people who do troll online should be punished under the law?
No.
Under any circumstance?
No.
So if you get trolled enough and that person ends up killing themselves,
well, you know what?
It doesn't matter.
No, I feel like that's a completely. I feel like people that are that. I don't want to call them weak, man, but if you let someone's online make you take
Even
it.
in high school, or even in like
In
middle
high school,
school?
I mean, these sites need to be. That's one thing for sure. They need to start verifying people's ages because there's people that are way too young using these things.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's
agree
for
with
sure.
that.
And I think kids are different. They get influenced by this way too much, and they let things. You know, they're too young. But adults, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know what you're getting into. And I there's a line. Like if someone's threatening you, you know, and like, or some people get doxxed, you know. If a hacker's like messing with your stuff, that's different. That person should get
or like,
and I feel like because you
revenge
can't,
porn
I
or
can't,
whatever.
I can't threaten you. I can't go outside on the street and say I'm going to kill you. I can get arrested for that. You can call the cops and say.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
What about online?
I think same. Online, if you're threatening someone's life, absolutely you should get in trouble for that.
So
but if you're like trolling them in different ways, like you're calling them names or stuff, or you're
calling someone fat,
or you fat shaming,
you fucked up Star Wars.
You shouldn't. Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't get arrested for that kind of trolling. You know, when we start talking about like I'm going to show up to your house and like kill your family.
Here's a picture of your parents.
Yeah,
or
well
whatever.
that's even. I mean that's.
Well, no, I'm saying
Yeah.
like that's okay. So I'm just curious. I'm just curious to know. Because it is a real thing. I mean, and it's going to be. I feel like it's going to continue to get worse as we continue to use the internet more and more because we're at its infancy. So who's to say?
But we're like, I think both of us are kind of like, we're on the Second Amendment kind of. We're on that path with the way that gun rights guys
Which is
are.
like, no, don't touch our internet.
Well, because I kind of
internet's pure.
I kind of feel like like if you let them take away one thing, they're gonna start taking away everything.
I 100% agree with you.
You know what
which
I mean?
is why the whole thing with the what's it called was such a big deal. The removal of
net neutrality.
So I hope that gets reversed at some point. But I mean that's a slippery slope too. Because I believe I'm a capitalist by heart, and this can transition to our one question for the show. But there is a certain point where the people who have the money are the ones who are going to control what we're going to do with the internet. And the internet is so free right now. I don't want it to. I mean, it's almost like starting over. It's like brand new civilization on the internet where there is no companies who are running. Yeah, you have Amazon running things, Netflix, whatever. You have your but no one's saying, it's not tiered. It's not like the cable where it's like, we only have 3 options.
Well,
I mean, there's
it shouldn't be privatized.
Yes.
It should not be privatized. That's for sure. I don't think it should be that. And that. In fact, I think internet should be like we should have
free.
Public internet.
Well, that's what Elon Musk is doing.
Elon
Musk is sending up thousands and thousands of satellites to basically allow free internet for everybody.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why he did that. He's gonna get killed. He might get deaded. He might get suicided.
Yeah.
But so we do have one question for this show. We do want to incorporate more questions.
Hi guys, I have a question for you guys. In India, capitalism, communism, socialism are different paths, and you can support any of them. There are communist parties in India who participate in parliamentarian democracy, run governments, and can potentially run the country. Right and left-wing supporters debate, fight all the time. They're politically opposite. They're polar opposites. But they're both here. In the U.S., it seems people think communism is some ugly poisonous vine that must be uprooted, like something taboo. Can you explain why? The reason why communism is such a taboo here is because after World War II, there was a big...
the Red Scare.
The Red Scare, and there was a big fight against communism because...
We shifted from fascism to communism.
Exactly. We shifted to communism. That was the new enemy because there was another power sprouting up, and a lot of people don't know this. I mean, a lot of Americans don't even realize this, but the U.S. was not a superpower until after World War II because everybody was so depleted in Europe and in Japan. Japan got shut down completely.
That's thanks to us.
That the U.S. was able to take over.
Well, they were able to
assert the dominance over the rest of the world, but they had a rival in the USSR because Russia started going out and collecting other countries and turning them into this big union. So we were worried about them. So that was like, if you had any communist beliefs, we automatically, I keep saying we, the U.S. kept automatically assumed that you were working for the USSR. So they did everything they could to quell that. And if you look, after World War II, a lot of the wars had to do with trying to stop communism from spreading in other countries. Like Vietnam had to do with communism. The Korean War had to do with communism. I mean, there's a lot of resources, natural resources there. But I mean, Afghanistan in the 80s, we were trying to, that was a proxy war, but it was also to stop them from invading the Middle East. That's why they armed Osama bin Laden to help fight off.
Which eventually led to 9/11.
Yeah.
Well, you can make that jump. But well, I mean, that's not really answering his question though. Why do you think normal people don't have a problem?
Well, because of propaganda, they've grown up like assuming, and then we see Cuba. You know, we saw the communist revolution in Cuba. We see China. We hear about all the terrible things. You never hear about positive things in school here. All they tell you about is how terrible communism is. And I can't tell you I didn't live in a communist country. And a lot of times, the problem with communism is there's never been a communist country anywhere.
That's what my answer is
they're always turned into dictatorships.
People don't know. People don't know what actual communism is. Because, or let me put it this way: people can't even tell you the difference between a socialist society, and a communist society. They don't know those difference between.
I
the
mean,
two.
people don't even realize that a lot of the policies we have here in the U.S. are socialist, and they've been around since pre-World War II.
Yep.
You know, FDR.
The New Deal was like one of the biggest socialist
deals
ever.
Social Security has the name in it, created by FDR. People don't understand that. And then in Europe, there's a lot of socialist policies. The countries aren't socialist, but they have socialist policies such as universal health care. The education system, stuff like that.
One could argue that Jesus, like religion is like a communist.
Yeah.
But you know, my thing is, and I think people, and I know you have things to say about this. Maybe not right now, but like Jordan Peterson is one of the people right now who's championing again anti-communist stuff. Because when I was growing up, I've read the Communist Manifesto. I haven't read Hitler's book, but I've read the Communist Manifesto, and there's a lot of things that are outdated that just don't apply, and there's some good things about it, you know, that can be applied. But my thing is,
okay, so back to Hitler. That's an assumption that's wrong.
What?
People think that he was a communist or a socialist because of
I wasn't saying that.
The Nazi, the socialist.
No, I was just comparing. Yeah. We've talked about fascism.
Yeah.
I'm talking about other types of governments that we're enemies with. Right? That's what I meant. And I've read the Communist Manifesto, and so like I identified as a Marxist for a while. Because Marxism is like the pure form of communism, you know, as you learn, whatever. But, you know, I started to realize, no, I'm glad that we live in a capitalist society because capitalism promotes innovation. Yes, there's going to be greed. Yes, there's going to be inequality. Yes, there's going to be all these side effects that happen to it. But we have this. We have the iPhone. I have my laptop. You know, I don't want to like have the government create the iPhone and then...
I completely disagree with that statement. And I think...
I don't, man.
A lot of all the great inventors were trying to make stuff for free. They weren't trying to make money off of it. It had nothing to do with capitalism. Nikola Tesla was not a capitalist.
I know. And who's the one we know about? We know about the guy who stole all the patents, right? That's the one. What's his name? Edison. You know. Yes, I'm not saying that.
But said that, and that's one just the statement that's saying that capitalism, like that's the idea that we get.
It breeds competition.
Competition. It doesn't breed innovation. People still invent stuff. People are out there that genuinely want to help people, and they're coming up with stuff.
I don't know, man.
They don't have the money to come up with the product, but that's an issue in itself. It shouldn't have to be that way. If someone wants to create something to help out mankind,
Musk. I mean, he's doing a lot of things for free. I mean, he's not doing them all for free, but he's definitely. I would say he's he's like a successor. A spiritual successor to Tesla.
I mean, there's a reason why he named the company Tesla.
Absolutely.
And then the reason why he's doing stuff the way, and we don't know why he does his business model the way he does, but it might be because his end game is to eventually just give it all away. We don't know that. He might be that kind of soul. We don't know.
I mean, Tesla's open software.
You know, but then you have on the other side, you got Jeff Bezos. He's a piece of shit. He's ruining the world.
But at the same time, Amazon's great, man.
Well, Amazon's great for lazy people.
Yes, it's destroyed the markets it's destroyed people like Toys R Us. Well, Toys R Us not specifically because they screwed themselves, but mom and pop shops and all but so did Walmart. I get what you're saying.
Walmart's terrible too.
I don't like Walmart. Walmart's making strides to make themselves look better. I'm not defending them, but that's why I use the air quotes. But you use Amazon all the time. I use Amazon all the time. We all use Amazon all the time.
I don't use Amazon all the time. I fucking...
Oh, you broke off from it? There was a time when
Absolutely, everybody, because I didn't know any better. I'm trying not, and my wife still uses Amazon, and I'm trying to get her not to. I feel like that's something we all need to consciously do because it doesn't really benefit us at all. All it does is make us do less work. You're still spending the money, but you're not leaving your house. It's making you not exercise.
But see, I can make that argument that you're not having... If Amazon didn't exist... A lazy motherfucker's still going to be a lazy motherfucker.
Right. But now, instead of having a few lazy motherfuckers, Amazon has turned the entire population into a lazy into fucking Wally. That's where we're headed. We're headed towards Wally
but I think
because
that's
I can
inevitable.
get everything.
Communism's not going to prevent that.
Well, I'm not pro-communism. I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. There are policies that work.
But isn't that the way the world works, man? Like there's literally both ideas need to exist. They need to coexist. There need to be communists out there.
There needs to be a yin and a yang for things. But the people,
that's what pushes us together
the
forward.
loudest people that are against any sort of socialist policies are the guys at the very top who have been preying on the middle and lower class and making their fortunes.
Isn't that where we're trying to get to, though?
Well, are we? No.
Well, I'm not trying to prey on the little, but I mean to enter that upper strata. Isn't that the American dream?
I mean that's the problem. I'm not with the American dream. That's a problem. That's what you're sold. It's a bill of goods that if you work hard enough, if you do this, that you're going to be able to make that elite, and it's impossible. You'll never make that.
So you genuinely don't believe competition breeds or capitalism breeds competition?
No.
You really don't?
No, pure capitalism? Absolutely not.
Well, I mean nothing's pure capitalist. You need regulations.
Look, yeah. And regulations have to do that's socialist stuff.
No, I'm saying
if you're a pure capitalist, you want zero regulations. But with socialism, you have unions, you have work weeks, you have hours. People only work 40 hours. There's minimum wage. There's all these things that come with it.
Yeah, but what about the freedom to go out and buy this iPhone?
What about the freedom?
If you're living in a communist society, a true communist society, because we're talking about a hypothetical.
But I'm not talking about a pure communist society. I'm just saying when you say pure capitalism, that's something different. Like free market capitalism doesn't create anything.
No, it creates fucking the crash of 2008. It creates that.
I think it's been long enough now where we've seen that it's not working because we're going backwards now. Where unions they're trying to dissolve unions. They're trying to get rid of minimum wage.
Most of them are dissolved.
They're trying to get rid of. Look, we're the only first world country that doesn't have mandatory paid
child leave or all that.
Yeah, maternity leave. My wife had to go back to work after 4 weeks. That was the gift. We'll give you 4 weeks.
I mean,
you go to Europe. You go to.
But if you're running a business, do you want to pay for someone else?
Yeah.
You want to pay for someone else to
happy workers, fuck off. See, you can't look at it that way. That's the problem. I have this discussion with my brother all the time. He works for AT&T, and that's the issue is that they squeeze you for everything you have. They don't reward you for you doing more.
I know, but AT&T is a big company. They can afford it. Okay. But if you're running a small business and you can't afford it, that law might benefit you.
It might benefit you, but then you have to get the right employees for that. I don't know. I feel like you need to take advantage. You need to keep your workers happy. Because if you don't, they're going to leave.
I agree with 100%.
Okay, and you need to take care of your because it's sex. To be honest, it's a misogynistic law we have because the woman has to stay home with the kid. We're going to punish them for having a child. Our birth rates are.
Do you get you get a paternity leave
I think
too?
I should too, but I don't.
But that doesn't exist.
Look, did you know the birth rates are going way down in the U.S.?
Good. They should.
That's not good. The population is getting smaller and smaller and older. That's going to be the end of the country.
Well, I will not be alive for that. But I think the birth rates need to go down all over the world.
No, the birth rates from people who can't afford kids need to go down. That's the problem.
Okay, well, I mean...
That's a little different. But educated people...
I'm sure they're the ones having the most kids, too. So, right now.
Yeah, there's
I think
there's a middle ground.
Your statistics
there's a middle ground somewhere. But the birth rate's going down in the U.S.
That's a good thing.
It's not a good thing.
For me, it is.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I live in Los Angeles when you have 45 million people living here.
Okay,
and you can't even drive 5 miles without...
You go to Bakersfield and they got like 50,000 people or whatever the population is there. You know?
Well,
like you just go... you go 2 hours north and there's nobody living there. So like everything balances out that way. There's too many people living here. There's not enough people living there.
That's what I said, yin and yang.
The fucking middle of America has nobody living in. It's a wasteland right now because they're all coming to LA. They're all coming to Boston. They're all coming to Atlanta, so on and so forth.
Well, hopefully this answered your question.
Yeah.
I don't know if we, because this is the common dialogue that we always have. Not me and you per se, but the country has. And I think people just aren't. I think the problem with the the ugly poisonous vine that to quote the question is people aren't willing to have a conversation. We just had a conversation.
Yeah.
We could have made this another hour and a half conversation easily, but people aren't even willing to do that.
No.
They're just, oh, you're from the red side. Oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, you voted for Trump. You're a fascist or whatever.
Right.
We all are on this spectrum, and we all I
think-
identify on the left, but there's certain conservative things that I believe
Yeah.
in. There's certain, so the spectrum is all over the place.
Right.
But people aren't willing to acknowledge A, that exists, and that B, you might be different. We could still get along and fucking work together to figure it out. Because there's certain socialist ideas that are great. Social Security, great. I believe that healthcare should be, free. I do believe that. I do think, but there should also be a privatized sector too, to where it's like, yeah, if you want to have free healthcare to do whatever,
If you want to get the Cadillac of healthcare, you want to pay extra,
for it.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But if you get sick somewhere, I don't want to have to pay for a $15,000 ambulance ride or whatever, because they cost $1,500. I don't know why I said $15,000. I meant $1,500. That should be covered.
Well, but that's a negative part of capitalism.
I agree with you.
I can charge you for this. I can turn this into a service when it shouldn't. It shouldn't be.
It's like the police officers.
Yeah.
Imagine if, because a true capitalist police
Imagine if you
society,
called the cops and you got charged $2,000.
or you had to pay for them to come out. Oh, it's going to be $2,000 for us to handle that. Because that could be a reality.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, firefighters, hey, my house is on fire.
I mean, libertarians, that's what they want. They want people to pay for the fire, like a privatized fire department.
Which I think is ridiculous.
And they think that people will pay for the roads. Oh, I'm just like the rich people, I'm going to pay for these roads over
right.
here.
Get the fuck... Because it's just like what I said
and
about
that's the thing
maternity leave.
And that's the thing with greed. Yeah, people hoard money and they don't help other people out.
Trickle-down economics does not work. It's been proven 1.5 million times. Well,
I mean, there's a bunch of contradictory statements here, but whatever. Let's finish this up. Let's get to the memes.
Yeah. Well.
Do we have any memes?
No. I mean, we do have memes, but I was saving them for other articles, which we didn't get to. So
let's just do the meme that I sent you.
Okay, we'll do the one meme, and then we'll shelve the rest of these things, because we do have other topics. Unfortunately, we didn't get to them today, because we're going to try to keep this at an hour. Otherwise, we could just go on forever.
All right, full disclosure, I don't know if this is real or not, but I saw it, and I was like, this is cold. This is ice cold. So this woman passed away March 19th. Or no, she passed away May 31st, so not too long. Last week. And her name was Kathleen Demlow, and there's an obituary from her children. Kathleen Demlow was born on March 19th, 1938 to Joseph and Gertrude Shunk of Wabasso. She married Dennis Demlow at St. Anne's in Wabasso in 1957 and had 2 children, Gina and Jay. In 1962, she became pregnant by her husband's brother, Lyle Demlow, and moved to California. She abandoned her children, Gina and Jay, who were then raised by her parents in Clements, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Shunk. She passed away on May 31st, 2018 in Springfield and will now face judgment. She will not be missed by Gina and Jay, and they understand that this world is a better place without her. Cold.
That's a mic drop.
Blooded.
Boom. That's savage.
That's not forgiving someone after they pass away.
I mean, but do you blame them?
No. I mean, this just tells me that once she left, she made no effort. Yeah, she just forgot about her family, and we don't know like her story. We don't know why she left, but
and this could be fake,
It could be fake, but this shit happens all the time.
But yeah,
this happens all the time, and it's not about her husband that she left. It's about the 2 kids. The 2 kids had nothing to do with it.
The husband, exactly. Who knows why they left or what? Because that's
he might have been a bastard. We don't know, because
knows?
obviously he took off or he died. Something happened to him because her parents raised them.
But it's fucked up. It's fucked up that it happens.
Man.
And it's funny, though. It is funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry that she's dead, but I guess she lived her whole life so we could laugh at it.
This is definitely a thug life meme.
It is.
For sure.
And the picture they use is not
the best.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for watching, and listening. If you're listening on iTunes, make sure.
Hopefully you enjoyed it. We try to put more videos this time. This is more in line with what we wanted to do.
And, tune in next week. We got another episode. Keep on sending material in so we can get to it. And
tell your friends. Share this video.
Share this video. Let the world know. And check out this video right here.
Watch it.